Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 55 of the San Marino Challenge. Now, today's episode, again, it's a pretty big one. We have another trophy on the line, one of which, of course, I haven't won before, which is... It's always something special when you haven't won something and you get the chance to win it against a very, very formidable opponent. Now, as you can see, and you probably could tell by the title, we are going to be versing FC Barcelona in the UEFA Super Cup. Of course, last episode in fact, we did win the Europa League against Chelsea, and of course Barcelona won the Champions League, so therefore we're versing them in this Super Cup, and I believe it's in Southampton, St Mary's Stadium, so it's going to be interesting. I will actually bring you an episode straight after this game. I'll play the first Serie A game, and then I'll bring you guys back for the Empoli game. As you can see over here, Empoli is our first home game of the season, in which we will debut our new stadium, 17,000 capacity. One thing I do want to show you guys first, though, is the notification or the message that I got in my inbox about the stadium completion. Now, as you can see down the bottom there, basically it says the San Marino board have proudly announced the completion of the club's move to San Marino Calcio Stadium. They had a brief ceremony, blah, 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 will cause a surge in support and interest from the local community. And then down the bottom, it says the all-seater stadium, which boasts undersoil heating, has room for 17,201 supporters with the potential to be expanded to capacity of 34,402. So basically what we can do is we can ask for stadium expansions, and basically we can double the attendance or the capacity of the stadium from what it currently is now. So if you times 17,201 by 2, you obviously get 34,402. So yeah, really good stuff there. Really good to see that the stadium can be expanded to a massive capacity like that. It's definitely warranted. Maybe not at the moment. Obviously, we don't know if we're going to sell out the 17,000 tickets. It's a possibility. But again, regardless, we have room for improvement. So it's perfect. It really is perfect. One other thing to mention, with Football Manager, you can't build another stadium for 20 years. Well, that's how it's been on previous Football Managers. So we're going to be stuck with this stadium for another 20 years minimum. So from what I understand, and going on past experience, but so yeah, we're stuck with this stadium until 2047 if the series does last that long. Obviously, I want to win the World Cup much before that, but it's the World Cup only happens every 4 years, so yeah, it's going to be a weird one. And obviously, the first episode of the series, beginning of a long journey, and it is definitely going to be that. It's already been that, to be honest. Now, the first thing we need to get into is the transfers, because there has been a big amount of activity. As you can see, a lot of players have left the club. The first of which was Stefano Leo. He left the club and went to FC Zurich for 525k. Honestly, it's a really low fee for him, but he never really progressed beyond what he is now. Of course, he was out on loan last season at FC Crotone. I mean, he was in Lega Pro, so Serie C. I mean, he played 35 games, but a 6.89, not really of the quality that we need. We've got Veta there as well, who is a wonder kid. Albeit his potential is kind of stalling at the moment as well, because I'm obviously focusing more on Ugolini and Vicini, the two San Marinese centre-backs that we have from the academy. Anyway, the next player, a club, well, in my eyes, a club icon, Ricardo Forte, left the club. We got in a new left winger, and he's going to challenge for the first team spot. Forte would not even be a backup, really. It was in the last year of his contract. Decided to sell him £6 million from Red Bull Salzburg. It's a pretty good fee. Now, the next one was a bit of a weird one because Conforti, his contract was running out as well. And I mean, I had a look at him, and honestly, his profile doesn't really excite me in the slightest. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I mean, as you can see from our scouts, they only rate him a 53 out of 100. So, I mean, they rate Antonio better than him. So, Antonio's staying at the club. But yeah, I couldn't really see the benefit. I mean, his physicals are decent. Mentals, some of them are okay. He's got good defensive stats, but apart from that, I mean, pretty bang average. Despite, he's always performed. I'll give him that. 1.1 million brought into the club. We sold him for 12.75 million to Lokomotiv Moscow. Absolute, we essentially 12 times our money, which is very impressive. We then let D'Arcangelo go out on loan to US Catanzaro. Again, he's not really living up to his potential. We're going to keep loaning him out. He's Italian, so I kind of want to just keep him around and see what he does. But yeah, he's another one similar to Leo. Probably his last season to prove himself, and then we might move him on if he doesn't sort of develop nicely. We'll have to wait and see. And the final player that I sold was a hard one to do, but I think it was kind of necessary. Lubos Cizek went to Olympiakos for 14.25 million. Basically, that offer was it was too good to refuse. He had a really good season last year, but, averaged over a 7.07 in Serie A. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. It is. And we have replaced him with someone better for cheaper, although they can't play at the moment, which is really disappointing. Okay, so let's go into the outs. Now, the first player brought in was the guy I mentioned in a previous episode, Byron Taylor, on a free transfer from Chelsea. Now, this left winger is something special. As you can see, 4.5-star current ability, 24 years old, got 16 caps for the under-21s for England. Really good physicals. I mean, really good. Pacey, very agile, just good overall. And as you can see, he's going to be something special for the club, and I definitely think he's going to do some dangerous work down that left flank. Only negative is he's on 100k per week, which absolutely blows anything we've ever done out of the water in terms of wages. Although we've had to give a lot of players new contracts, and it's hurt the club. Although there was a lot of interest in my players from some of the big clubs in Europe. A lot of the Premier League teams were sniffing around. Certain players had release clauses that were really low, like much lower than their value. So we've had to splurge a bit on the wages. The next player brought in was another free transfer from RB Leipzig, Armand Kozic. A player I've been familiar with for quite some time. I looked at him when he was about 20 years old, when we first got promoted. It might have been a little bit older than 20, actually. But when we first got promoted, I looked at buying him, but he would not accept an offer for a contract. He basically said that our stature in the game was too low for him. But yeah, we managed to sign him now on a free. He's 25 years old. He's got only the one cap for the Swiss national team. But as you can see, he's pretty impressive. Left-footed as well, which I really like, obviously. We need a left-sided centre mid. And yeah, I think his 18 passing and a lot of his other attributes, it works well for a box-to-box. The only negative would be his tackling at 9, but I mean, hopefully, he can get over that. We do play with a defensive midfielder that sits behind him, so hopefully he can do some damage. Pretty high wage, 38.5k a week. All these free transfers are hard to negotiate their wages down. The next player we brought in was Foschi. I think that's how you say it. Foschi, Christian Foschi. 17-year-old Italian, was brought in for absolute peanuts. 350k from our former parent club, Cesena. Just looks a decent little young prospect, to be honest. good pace, some good mentals for his age, and then some really good technicals. Basically, just gonna be in the youth team. Hope he develops. 350k is just absolutely nothing. We then brought in another striker, Laridison, from this team, Aalborg Split Club. Yeah, basically AAB. I don't know why I've gone into that. But yeah, 1.2 million for him. Very, very impressive 17-year-old striker. 4-star potential. A lot more exciting than the last guy, Foshi. This guy's got really, really good stats where it matters. Good strength, good pace, really good dribbling, finishing, and first touch, and then really good off the ball and composure. As you can see, some clubs want him on loan already, Virtus Intella being one of them. Now, the next player we signed was another striker, Maurizio Pugh. Yeah, we'll go with Pugh. 16-year-old Belgian striker, very cheap transfer. What was it? 2.1 million, sorry. 2.1 million. Another 4-star potential striker. Again, he's 16 years old. 8 caps for the under-21s already. Looks very impressive. Really good pace. The only thing that really lets him down is his 7 composure. But obviously, he's pretty young. It's one of those ones where we're just going to see how he develops. Probably sell him on in the future for a profit. If not, he might come to the first team. We'll just have to wait and see. The next player is the guy I bought to replace Cizek, although he is a non-EU player, and we've of course already signed Taylor. And of course, in the game, England or Britain has left the EU due to Brexit, so he counts as our non-EU player, and Britos unfortunately cannot be registered, which is really devastating. As you can see, a lot better than Cizek. He's a wonder kid. 8 million release clause from National. I mean, I was super excited for this guy. Honestly, I was super excited. Thinking about him playing alongside Viviani. Oh, it really put my imagination into overdrive in terms of how we could play this season. But unfortunately, he will not be able to play. And unfortunately, no one wants him on loan either. I've tried to offer him out on loan, but no interest. So that sucks. The next 4 players are the players that I bought from San Marinese clubs. Now, Tre Fiori, Tre Penne, SS Murata, and La Fiorita. It's hard to get that one out. They were all the semi-final teams for the championship in the San Marinese Campionato. And basically, I gave them all 750k. Just bought all these, bang average players. A lot of the teams, well, Tre Fiori, Tre Penne, and Murata, most of their players were on non-contracts. So there were only like 4 or 5 contracted players to each team. Obviously on youth contracts, players they've brought through. But yeah, I had to buy one of those players. And La Fiorita, it's really interesting because I was looking at all these teams. I was noting down their facilities just to sort of see if they will use the money to reinvest. And La Fiorita, they have really good facilities compared to all the other teams. They've got below average training. Every other team has poor training and poor youth, but they have below average. So really interesting. They've got fairly basic youth, junior coaching and basic youth recruitment, which is also pretty good, but I believe one of the other teams had better junior coaching and youth recruitment. But the other thing that's interesting is they are building a new stadium. Yes, they're searching for a site, planned capacity of 4,571. Now, I thought that was just incredible. But I think that's due to their involvement in European qualifiers. Obviously, the Champions League qualifiers and the Europa League qualifiers. They've done pretty well, especially this season, because I've been focusing on it a little bit more than I have previously. But their finances are a lot better than a lot of the other clubs. All their finances are now secure due to my investment in their teams. But yeah, this team has a lot of contracted players, as you can see. Basically, the whole first team is contracted, which is interesting. So we're going to keep a close eye on the San Marinese League. I want to see if their facilities increase or their youth recruitment and stuff like that, and see if it will make a difference. 750k to a team like that, or to teams like that, it's a lot of money. It really is, and it should hopefully spell success for a lot of those teams. Anyway, let's get into the preseason fixtures before our massive Super Cup game. We did a tour of China. As you can see, we managed to beat Beijing Guan 4-0, Shanghai SIPG 1-0, and Guangzhou Evergrande 7-0. We then versed Spal, beat them 4-0. Monza, our affiliated club, 1-0. And finally, we beat Zenit St. Petersburg 2-1. And as you can see, none of those games were played in our new stadium. So really looking forward to the next episode against Empoli. Of course, we have a little bit of a rivalry with Empoli. Of course, 2 seasons ago, I think it was, where we versed them in the last game of the season for the Champions League spot, and we managed to beat them. So having them come to our new stadium for the debut of it, I think it's pretty fitting, and it's a good thing to see. Anyway, let's get into today's lineup. It's a little bit changed, not too much really. Only the one real inclusion into the first team. Basically, I wanted to keep it, the same from the team that won the Europa League, more or less. So yeah, in goals, we're going to go with Ingvarsen. At right back, we're going to go with Antonio. The centre backs today are going to be Armini and Squizzato, with Nesic at left back. Novi will be the defensive midfielder. Then we're going to go with Kozic, new signing of course, and Viviani as the 2 central midfielders. Renault will be the right winger. Formato will be the left winger. And Longelo will be up front. The bench today is going to be Marino, Vicini, Gilles, Nolascoigne, Taylor, Vitek, Daum, Valsen, who comes up from the under-20s, the Icelandic guy, Ugolini, Sabanda, Veta, and Albani. Honestly, not really expecting too much. Worth noting that Longelo's not match fit. He's just come back from a gashed head, I think it was. I'm just going to tell the boys that we're underdogs because, we truly are. If you look at Barcelona's team, most of their players, if not all of their first 11, are like world class. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's another chance for a trophy. Let's just say that. It's pre-season as well, so anything could happen. We might be able to beat them. Who knows? It does look like we're starting pretty well, though. Looks like we're dominating possession by about 5%, which I think against Barcelona, you could say that is... Longelo's picked up an injury. Let's bring on Daum, actually. Daum's picked up a couple of goals just recently against Zenit. So I think bringing him on is probably the smarter play. Although Albani coming on against Barcelona would be pretty special for a San Marinese player. Well, San Marinese / Italian. I'm really worried about that. Really worried about him playing for Italy instead of San Marino. Purely for the fact... Kozic hit the crossbar. Yeah, purely for the fact that he is a quality striker. And the national team, we need a striker that can bang in goals 100%. Anyway, it's not a bad first half there. 0-0 still. Pretty boring apart from the crossbar Kozic shot. Yeah, I'm still really enjoying the series. So much so that I decided to record an episode now. I don't usually record at night because of the crickets in the background. But yeah, what am I doing? Not Vitek, Veta. That's a disappointing injury there for Armini. Worth noting that he actually had some interest in him. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was either Southampton or someone like that from the Premier League. There was some interest. Anyway, this game's pretty boring. Not a lot of highlights. We do have one here, though. Dalm to Nesic. Kozic. Formato. Dalm. Oh, straight at Stegen. Oh, that was a really good opportunity. That was a nice little play, actually. Nice little 1-2 to get in behind. Kozic with a cross, but it's pretty weak, to be honest. Renault, the back post, and that's a poor header, to be honest. Got to be doing a little bit better than that. I mean, we have dominated Barcelona, which is crazy. Does it go straight to penalties? I think it might. No, it goes to extra time, okay. That's fine. Anyone else in the yellow card? Viviani? Yeah, we'll ease you off as well. I mean, we are the dominating team at the moment, so hopefully we can just, push forward a little bit more. I mean, I probably should have told the boys to push forward, with my shouts. As quite often, we do score goals in the last sort of 10 minutes when I do shout, so it's interesting, but we do have the ball at the moment. Nesic playing to Novi. I mean, obviously, we're holding the ball pretty well. As I say that, we hit a long ball up, and now they're in behind, and they score. I mean, Ayoze Trillo, he's a world-class striker. Probably one of the best in the world at the moment. In the game, of course. And we find ourselves 1-0 down, so their third shot on target equals a goal. And basically it was pretty much from our error, which is super annoying. It really is. It's almost expected, to be honest. Their strikers are so good. Their players, are so good. I'm just going to pause the game here. We'll do a shout, push forward for the last 10 minutes or so, and just hope. Hope and pray. Come on, Formato. Oh my god. Really? How could we not put it in the back of the net just there? I mean, if you look at their defense and their goalkeeper, they're all on massive ratings. All over 7. I mean, I think their centre-backs were on like 7.6s and stuff. That's really disappointing because we were the better team. We definitely were the better team as far as the stats go there. So I don't think we really deserve to lose that, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of a little bit filthy about it. Yeah. I don't think we deserve to lose that, if I'm being honest. I mean, Formato was man of the match. I'll show you how good this guy actually is. Yeah, as you can see, he's pretty good. 450k per week. 38 caps for the Spain national team for 24 goals. It's a pretty decent return there. And yeah, pretty much part of the reason as to why Barca won the Champions League last season. Obviously, we weren't even the favourites for that, so it is what it is. It's good to see a good performance, but at the same time, it's like we probably deserve to win that game. I mean, at least on penalties. If we lose on penalties, it's exciting for us, but I guess it can be even more disappointing. But yeah, anyways, guys, don't forget to tune into the next episode. It will be the debut of our new stadium. Really looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a sellout. That'd be pretty sweet. I think we sold about 7,000 season tickets. I think we can actually check, can't we? Let's go to the club. General. Where are we? Okay, I think we were expected to sell 7,000. It looks like we've only sold 5,100, so that's not great. That's not great. Anyways, guys, if you're enjoying the series, please give this video a like. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. That should keep you up to date with these episodes coming out in the future. Apart from that, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.